Welcome back, my friends. If you're new here, my name is Mary and I live in Colorado. I'm here today because I'm joining my friend Jaime at Board or Bananas for her monthly Flipping Friday videos, and there's going to be a collection of cool ideas for all of you in the playlist, which I will link down below in my description box. And there is Jaime's 2 channels as well that I will be listing in my description box, as well as my own spring playlist. I love spring, as we all do. And guys, I'm going to be sharing with you 2 projects today, so let's jump right in. Here I am with this old floor lamp that I bought at Walmart probably 10 years ago, and it's been in my hearth room at least that long. And it came with this rubbed oil finish on the stand of the lamp, and I have never liked it. And since I have discovered Rub and Buff, which you can see right here in the image in the corner there, since I discovered it, and it works so well on transforming metal. But guys, Rub and Buff you can use on almost any surface. And as you can see here, I'm applying it with my finger and rubbing it on the places I want it to be covered up. And then I take a soft cloth and wipe it down, sort of buffing it up and wiping away any that is in an area I don't want it to be. And moving on to this dingy lampshade, I first am taking this soft or this damp cloth, and I wiped it down to get off all of the dust. And next I'm taking a spray bottle of water and spraying the fabric of the lampshade. Now guys, this is an important step if you choose to paint a lampshade, because it helps this chalk paint that I'm using, which is, you know, the Waverly chalk paint that you can buy at Walmart, and it is very economical, I guess you would say, and does a fantastic job. But I am getting this chalk paint into the cracks and crevices around the rims of the shade. And also, guys, what I meant to say earlier is that by spraying your shade with water, you will make it possible for that chalk paint to sort of work its way into the fabric and really adhere better. It has worked wonderfully for me. I actually did a painting a lampshade earlier this year with a thrifted lamp that I had bought. But guys, this just works like a miracle. Transforming an old dingy lampshade, or maybe one that is not a color that you really like, you can paint it really any color that you wish. And I feel like chalk paint does the best job on this for you. But in any case, we'll just go forward and continue painting this and going ahead with our spraying, making sure we're getting good coverage and smoothing out the paint. You don't want any globs of paint left on your shade. You want a sort of a smooth finish. So spraying on water, as you can see here, I did it section by section, and that gives you time to spray the water and to get your paint on while the fabric is still damp. I found that it was necessary to give this 2 coats so that it completely covered and you couldn't see through to that off-white, I call it dingy white color. And another tip here is to hang your lampshade on your lamp while it's drying between coats. That way the paint will, especially on the bottom rim, adhere to that well. Let's move on to our second project for the day. So friends, this is the coffee table that is down my basement. And if you look at it closely, it's pretty banged up. Lots of scratches and bumps and dings. So we're going to fix that with paint and sanding. The first step we needed to do was sand the top of the table. And this is my friend Sam, who just got back from Afghanistan after a year. And he's helping me out here working on sanding my tabletop so it's completely smooth. And I want to say thank you for serving our country, Sam. So Sam is going to have to take quite a bit of time to get all the scratches out of this. And there he is giving us a nice smile. He's very happy to be back home, I know. And once he gets done with this, we'll move on to step number 2 in our project, which is painting black onto the surface of the areas that I want to distress later. So I'm going ahead and using this inexpensive acrylic paint, or sorry, not acrylic paint, but latex paint. You can see a picture of it here in the corner. It is called Color Place, and it is a satin finish. Um, and I will be letting this dry very thoroughly before I move on to my next step. But as you can see, I'm not painting the entire piece black, just any areas where I think I want to do distressing, as I said later in this whole process. But it's a good quality paint for a less expensive price. And I got this idea from my friend Yvonne at Ginger Chick Rehab. She and her husband do fantastic flips on their channel if you're interested in that really nice farmhouse look. Next, I have flipped my table upside down. I have been doing this for ever since I've been restoring furniture. To me, it's always easier to do the underneath parts and get them well painted before you flip it back over for the top and the sides. So this is what I'm in the process of doing, and I'm giving it a very good coat. Um, and you see I'm covering up that black completely so that later then I can sand and distress it, as I said. So here it is. I'm just about finished with this side of the table. And in the next segment, I will be turning my table back right side up so that I can begin to paint the top of it. And this white paint, by the way, is a leftover from many other projects. I had a whole gallon of this Sherwin-Williams paint, and I'll show you a picture of it right here. It is Pro Classic, as you can see, and I always go for a satin finish, and this color is called Extra White. Now, I'm being very careful to get in all these grooves on the top of the table. And guys, my finish is going to be so nice because of the earlier sanding. And it's just going to look super pretty. And we'll be showing that to you very shortly as we get finished with painting the top. And now on to sanding. And I am using this 100 grit sandpaper. You may know already, but the lower the number on your sandpaper, the coarser the grit. And then the higher numbers are a finer grit for a fine finish sanding. Now, we'll talk about this later, but because I only have one coat of the white paint on the top of my table, I am not pressing really hard on this to do my distressing and have the black show through because one coat of paint is fairly thin and it does not take very much pressure to do the distressing. And it's a good idea to randomly distress so it looks like a naturally worn effect. This is my coffee table so far. You can see I only put one coat of my white paint on the top of this table. I put two coats on the other sections, you know, the legs and the rungs. But I kind of like this shabby chic streaky look where you can actually see some of the black coming through. And then, of course, you saw me doing some distressing on these edges to add a little bit more to that shabby look. Next, I will be putting a top coat of polyacrylic, and that will be protecting this finish and this look that I really I'm just really liking the way this looks rather than perfectly solid white. Let me know what you think about this effect in the comments below. For the last step in my project, I am now applying the polyacrylic, and this is a product that is made by Minwax, and I am using a satin finish. I'm actually going to put two coats of this Minwax polyacrylic onto my tabletop because of course it gets more wear than anything else. And here's a photo of the polyacrylic can. You can see exactly what it is in case you're interested in buying it yourself. Now we're going to be moving on at the end of my video here, so stay tuned. I'll be sharing with you pictures before and after of both of my project. And I sure do hope you enjoyed the video and maybe got a couple of tips to inspire you.